Some nights awaken emotions that have been asleep inside you for years. And tonight was one of those nights. Desires I thought were buried deep in my heart. Feelings I had suppressed for so long. Confessions I had hidden in the darkest corners of my mind. All of them came rushing back the moment I heard a knock on my door. Just as I was about to finish my drink and head inside, the knock echoed again. A strange shiver ran down my spine. It was past midnight, and Alfred wasn't home. He had left early in the morning for a business trip. I frowned and walked toward the door. There was unease inside me, but also a sense of anticipation. And when I opened the door, the sight before me took my breath away. Christian. He stood in the doorway, his dark shirt from earlier still clinging to his frame. The top buttons undone, his sleeves rolled up to his elbows. His skin was warm, his breath uneven. Shadows danced across his face, but his eyes, oh, those eyes. They had never looked so direct, so sure. The cool night air brushed against my skin, but the heat radiating from him was undeniable. And me? I stood there in nothing but a loose tank top and shorts, the same clothes I had worn to bed, thinking I would be spending this night alone. I hadn't even bothered to throw on something else. But now, I could feel Christian's gaze moving over me, taking me in. His lips slightly parted, his teeth grazing his bottom lip. My breath quickened. Goosebumps rose on my bare arms. Cassidy, he murmured. His voice was deep, slow, rough. It echoed inside my head. I swallowed hard. Christian. At this R, he took a step forward. I instinctively stepped back, but he didn't leave. His eyes were locked onto mine, searching, lingering, like he was gathering the courage to do something he had been holding back for years. His chest rose and fell slightly heavier with every breath. I don't know, he said slowly. I don't know why I came here, but we both knew. A warm breath filled the space between us. The silence of the night was thick, heavy with our breathing. His gaze dropped to my lips, and for a moment he hesitated. His hands slipped into his pockets as if he was trying to hold himself back. Brittany is asleep, he said quietly, and I know Alfred isn't here. Those words sent another wave of tension between us. I held my breath. Brittany, my best friend. But right now, standing in this doorway, the only person in my mind was Christian. I should have looked away. I should have closed the door, but I didn't. My hands were shaking, my body completely out of my control. Christian tilted his head, slightly, stepping even closer. Our eyes locked. My heart pounded in my chest, a storm raging inside me. If I reach out, he whispered, his voice barely more than a prayer. Will you pull away? I couldn't answer because I knew I wouldn't. That night, in that doorway, everything was about to change. And this door would be knocked on a second time before the night was over. Until then, everything would unfold in a most incredible way. I want to tell you every single detail. If you love stories like this, make sure to follow me and turn on notifications so you never miss one. When the shocking ending hits, I promise you'll be saying I wish it didn't have to end. Drop a comment when the story is over. I can't wait to hear your thoughts after a brief hesitation. I slowly opened the door. Come inside, I whispered. Christian locked eyes with me, took a step forward, and as soon as he was in, I quietly shut the door behind him. My heart was still pounding as we walked into the living room. He ran a hand through his hair and took a deep breath. This isn't easy to say, he started, his voice rough, strained. But last night, after dinner, when I saw you in the kitchen, I realized nothing has changed. Not a damn thing. Not in 10 years. The moment I knew that, I knew I couldn't stop myself anymore. That's why I'm here. I swallowed hard, my breath unsteady. Something inside me was breaking, unraveling as I looked at Christian. I knew it the first week we moved here, I admitted, my voice shaky. Do you remember that trip when everyone was together? That's when I knew Christian. But Brittany is my best friend, and right now she's sleeping just 200 meters away. Christian took another step closer. His gaze locked onto mine. I know, he whispered. But Cassidy, how can we ignore what's happening right now? His warm breath brushed against my skin. My fingers instinctively curled into fists as I felt my whole body tremble. The fear, the desire, the forbidden thrill, it all tangled together inside me. I needed to step back. I should have walked away. But could I? His warm breath brushed against my skin. My fingers instinctively curled into fists as I felt my whole body tremble. The fear, the desire, the forbidden thrill, it all tangled together inside me. I needed to step back. I should have walked away. Christian took a deep breath, his eyes still fixed on mine. His tension was palpable, like he was barely holding himself together. In that moment, I realized something. These feelings I had buried for so long had never disappeared. I had just covered them up, let them sit dormant inside me. But now with Christian standing here, looking at me like this, saying these things, they were all rising to the surface, one by one. His eyes studied me like he was looking straight through me back into the past. Don't pretend. Cassidy, he said, his voice low, rough. It echoed in the room, making me hold my breath. Don't tell me you don't think about that last month before you moved. Those nights, the movies we watched together, those stolen moments. Do you really not remember? I swallowed, parting my lips, but no words came out. Christian didn't stop. He was forcing me to face something I had tried so hard to forget. Why are you acting like it never happened? He asked, his voice edged with both frustration and hurt. Brittany's your best friend, I get it. But I'm not happy with her. Cassidy, I haven't been happy for years. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. Christian ran a hand through his hair again, stepping even closer. The always in control man I knew was nowhere to be seen. There was desperation in his eyes, but also determination. You're not happy with your husband either, he whispered, his voice soft but sharp like a blade. And look at us. Look at how old we are now. Isn't it time we end this misery? I turned my gaze away because the weight of his words was too much to handle. Because he was right. Neither of us had found happiness. Not with Brittany. Not with Alfred. We had been rotting in this quiet unhappiness for years, but we had never said it out loud. We had never admitted it to each other. Christian leaned in slightly, his breath warm against my cheek. Think about it, he murmured, his voice low, almost pleading. We never even had kids. 2 separate couples. And neither of us had kids. You know what that means, Cassidy. We were never really in it, were we? But here, right now, we both know what's real. I clasped my hands tightly because my whole body was trembling. I knew exactly what he meant. When I finally lifted my gaze to meet his, I realized that it wasn't just words hanging between us anymore. It was years of suppressed desire, rising to the surface. Christian, I whispered, my voice unsteady. This isn't right, but even as I said it, I could hear the weakness in my own voice because my heart was telling me something else. The feelings I had silenced for years, night after night, were screaming something else. Christian looked at me, his eyes unwavering. Cassidy, you haven't changed, he said, his voice steady, firm, without a hint of doubt. All these years have passed, but you're still the same mesmerizing, fiery woman who drives me insane. And when you look at me, You feel the same thing. Don't lie. I swallowed hard, lowering my gaze, but he wasn't having it. His fingers gently tilted my chin up, forcing me to look at him. Look at me, he said, his voice soft but commanding. Look into my eyes and tell me what you really feel. And when I did, I knew. I couldn't deny it. I couldn't pull away. Those eyes wrapped around me just like they did 10 years ago. A reality I had dreamed of for so long, yet convinced myself would never happen, was unfolding right in front of me. I took a deep breath. I haven't changed either, I whispered, my voice so soft it was barely audible. But this is Christian pressed a finger to my lips, stopping me. Cassidy, don't. He murmured. We can do this. We don't have to keep running from our own happiness. Maybe for the first time, we can finally be where we're meant to be. Everything inside me shattered. My entire sense of balance was gone. The walls I had built, the emotions I had buried, the thin line between right and wrong, all of it crumbled to nothing. I stepped back slightly, but Christian didn't let me. His hands gripped my waist, holding me there. For a moment, we just stood like that, our breathing the only sound in the room. I closed my eyes. If we do this, I whispered, there's no going back. Christian leaned in, pressing the softest kiss to my forehead. We've already started down that road, Cassidy. And in that moment, everything inside me collapsed. I opened my eyes and took a deep breath, looking right at him. Christian, I said, my voice trembling, but there was no hesitation. I'm 48 years old and you're right. We need to end this misery. Christian studied my face carefully, as if making sure I truly meant it. And when he saw my certainty, something lit up in his eyes. He tightened his grip on my waist, pulling me closer. There was no space left between us. I could feel his breath on my lips. And then, he kissed me. His kiss was full of everything we had buried for years: hunger, passion, longing. The second his lips touched mine, it was like a current ran through my body. My skin tingled. My breath hitched. My fingers instinctively found his chest, feeling his warmth beneath my palms. 10 years apart, never touching, never crossing the line. But tonight, in this moment, it was like we were making up for every second we had lost. Unaware of Alfred and Brittany's plan, everything was unfolding exactly the way it wasn't supposed to. I paused for a moment and looked into his eyes. The storm inside me hadn't settled, but there was no fear either. There was only desire. I wanted to let go, to release the tension in my body. Slowly, I slid my hands under my shirt, lifted it over my head, and tossed it aside. Christian's expression shifted instantly. His eyes traveled over me, taking in every inch. His lips parted slightly, his gaze darkening with both admiration and raw hunger. He reached out, tracing his fingers up my waist. His touch barely there, but sending a shiver through me. You haven't aged a day in 10 years. Cassidy, he whispered, his voice low and rough. You were always beautiful, always irresistible. But now, just as you are, at this very moment, with all your elegance, you're even more breathtaking. His words hit something deep inside me. He was saying exactly what I had longed to hear for years. I hadn't even realized how much I missed being looked at like this. How much I craved hearing these kinds of words from a man's lips. Something inside me woke up. Something that had been quiet for too long. I wrapped my fingers around Christian's neck, let my hand slide up into his hair, and whispered, you haven't changed either. You're still that same strong, handsome man. Still looking at me in a way that turns my whole world upside down. Christian smirked, but there was nothing innocent about it. His eyes gleamed with intensity. His hands gripped my waist tighter, his warmth seeping into my skin. He leaned in slightly, his breath teasing my lips. "And I still want you just as much, Cassidy," he murmured. I felt those words echo through every inch of my body. At that moment, I knew nothing would ever be the same again. Did I care? Not at all. I let myself sink onto the couch, my legs still trembling. But when I saw the determination in Christian's eyes, I felt the last remaining bit of resistance inside me slip away. I gripped the edges of the couch, my heart hammering in my chest as I watched him move toward me. And then, he leaned in. As he moved closer, the space between us disappeared. I could feel his shadow over me. He was so close that I could feel the full weight of the passion in his gaze. "You haven't changed," he said, his voice low and deep. "Years have passed, but you're still the same woman. I still can't take my eyes off you." In that moment, I felt something inside me that I hadn't felt in years. Something I had missed more than I could ever put into words. I closed my eyes and felt as if my body was being pulled upward, like an invisible string was lifting me toward the ceiling. "You haven't changed either," I whispered, my voice soft, but filled with every emotion I had held back for so long. "You're still the same Christian. You still make me feel this way." This time, my legs weren't shaking from hesitation. They were trembling from the sheer force of my own excitement. From my Christian exhaled sharply, his lips curving into a small smile. "That's what I've missed the most," he murmured, his flushed face, his slightly damp hair, the way the dim light of the night mixed with his features. It was like a masterpiece. The alcohol in my veins made my body shudder again. And this time, I could no longer open my eyes. "Christian, I can't open my eyes," I whispered. "Don't," he said softly. "You're beautiful just like this." And then I found myself begging him. "Please," I whispered. "Don't be afraid. Just let yourself go." "Are you sure?" he asked, and I said, "More than ever." I only realized he had finally let go when I heard his breath quicken. I felt an overwhelming warmth spreading deep inside me. I thanked Christian for that. Maybe I just wanted to live with the hope that, after all these years, we could finally have what we had never been able to. We moved forward, lost in the idea that this night belonged only to us. Christian held my gaze for a long moment. The alcohol had eased every bit of resistance inside me, and I had completely let myself go. Everything felt right, as if time and reality had faded into the background. Christian tilted his head slightly, a soft smile playing on his lips. "I don't want to ruin this night, Cassidy. I haven't felt you like this in so long. I don't want to rush it." His words sent a warmth through me because I felt the same. I just wanted to live in this moment, to exist without thinking about anything else. For the first time in years, I felt truly at peace. Slowly, he took my hand and pulled me toward the couch. "You know," he said with a smirk, "my favorite movie is still the same." I tilted my head back, my eyes a little hazy from the wine. "I bet it's still Roman Holiday," I murmured. Christian nodded, his eyes lighting up. "Of course. Audrey Hepburn will always be one of the most mesmerizing women ever. But right now, in this moment, she's not the most beautiful thing about this film." I smiled, resting my head against the cushion as my eyelids grew heavier. The screen's soft glow filled the dimly lit room. Christian poured more wine, handing me a glass. I took a sip, the warmth spreading through my chest as I looked at him. "You know," I said, turning my head slightly toward him, "I remember a night like this 10 years ago, watching a movie, talking for hours." Christian turned to me, smiling faintly. "And just like that night, I barely watched the damn film because I was too busy looking at you." I laughed softly, and so did he. It felt like for a brief moment, All the weight, all the guilt, all the years of restraint had disappeared. We were lost in nostalgia, in alcohol, in this dangerous but intoxicating peace. Sometimes we spoke in whispers, sometimes we simply touched hands, and other times we sat in silence, just existing in each other's presence. Everything was so perfect until the knock at the door. Reality slammed back into us like a crashing wave. The movie continued to play, but I couldn't hear it anymore. Christian and I immediately turned to each other. His face tensed in an instant. My entire body stiffened, my stomach twisting into knots. The knock came again, and then I heard the voice, "Christian, Brittany." The moment I opened the door, Brittany didn't say a word. Instead, she lifted her hand, holding up her phone. I looked at the screen, and suddenly it felt like all the blood drained from my body. On the bright screen was a live feed of the inside of our house, the living room. It was us. A recording of everything we had just done caught on camera. A camera we hadn't even known was there. Beside me, Christian held his breath, his whole body stiffening. Brittany's lips curled into a cold, bitter smile. "Great scene," she said, her voice sharp as ice. I couldn't move. My mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. Then my eyes drifted past her, toward the car parked just outside. Alfred. He was leaning against it, arms crossed, watching us. Brittany slowly slipped her phone into her pocket and took a step back. "Everything comes with a price," she said, her gaze locking onto Christian like a blade. "And you two better be ready to pay." Then she turned and walked toward the car. Alfred lingered for a moment, looking at me one last time before exhaling deeply and shaking his head. Then he got in the car. Christian opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. I just stood there, staring into the empty space in front of me. And in that moment, I understood. This night wouldn't just be a memory. It would be a punishment. This story isn't over. It's only just beginning. Things are about to get even more complicated, and we're stepping onto a path with no way back. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. For more stories, drop a comment. What do you think happens next? Your support means everything.